We are facing a war that has been forced upon us. And today, more than ever, I think all the forces fighting need to understand why we are fighting. And I often tell the unit leaders that they must be able to explain to their men why we are fighting. We are not fighting because we want to fight. We are fighting because we have been attacked. A war has been forced upon us. And why was this war forced upon us? I think everyone needs to understand it's because they want our land without us. And this didn't start today. It's always been this way. That's the case for Africa. Remember slavery. When they came to deport us, many Africans, especially the strong and able, those of childbearing age, when they were deported, many died, and Africa was emptied out. Then came the era of colonization when they came to our lands, massacred us, massacred our ancestors, killed as many as they could. Africa was colonized several times over. And today, more than ever, it's a new form of colonization. And why does Africa suffer so much? Because we have resources that interest the imperialists. And I think each and every one of you needs to understand that. If you are able to put yourself on the front line to fight to the ultimate sacrifice, as they say, it means you understand the meaning of your commitment. You have come to defend the nation, to protect this land that our ancestors left us. Those who came before us wrote the anthem for us. And I think that when you listen to the anthem of Burkina, it actually starts with against, because they stood up against several forms of colonization. The Burkinabe is against humiliation. We are against all forms of domination. Burkina Faso is against neo-colonialism. And all of this is what you need to understand. To understand that they wrote the anthem to stand against a certain number of things in this world. And they defended this land, they passed the land down to us. And our duty is to fight and defend our lands as well, so we can pass them on to our children. Today we are fighting, but not necessarily for ourselves, but for our children. Who here doesn't love their child, for those who have children? Everyone loves their child. If a danger were to threaten a child, the father would rather take the danger upon himself to spare the child. That is to say, the father would rather die so that his child can survive. So the reason we are fighting today is for the generations to come, to pass down better lands to them so they can live comfortably. So there is no holding back in this fight. We will oppose everything these oppressors want to impose on us. And you must continue to fight for that. Listen carefully to our anthem.
The recent failed coup attempt against Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the country's young revolutionary leader, is more than a local incident. It's part of a much bigger battle, a battle over Africa's gold, lithium, uranium, and power, a battle between independence and neo-colonial control. Today we connect the dots. We expose what's really happening and why every African, from Lagos to Nairobi, Accra to Johannesburg, needs to pay attention. This isn't just Burkina Faso's fight, it's Africa's fight.
And then Burkina Faso is only a hop, skip, and a jump from northern Nigeria. And you know they want to get rid of Ibrahim Traoré, and we pray to God and the ancestors that never happens, but they want to get rid of Ibrahim Traoré because he's the leader. And what does Burkina Faso have a whole lot of? Gold art. Donald Trump wants to geopolitically and strategically put the U.S. military in northern Nigeria so they have easy access to invade Niger right above, Mali right above to the left, and Burkina Faso right above even further to the left. Do you see that?
Right.
At just 35 years old, Captain Ibrahim Traoré took power in a country plagued by corruption, terrorism, and Western interference. But unlike past leaders, he didn't beg for help from the usual powers. Instead, he turned inward, calling for pan-African unity, self-reliance, and sovereignty. He kicked out French troops, suspended deals that exploited local resources, and aligned Burkina Faso with other independent-minded African nations like Mali and Niger. Together, they formed the Alliance of Sahel States, a new front for African solidarity. Traoré became a symbol, not just for Burkina Faso, but for a new generation of Africans rising against neocolonialism, and that made him a target. In earlier 2026, Burkina Faso's government announced it had stopped a planned coup d'etat. The plot aimed to assassinate Traoré and destabilize the transitional government. The coup wasn't just a domestic issue. It came shortly after a Nigerian Air Force jet made an unauthorized landing in Burkina Faso. Many questioned the timing. Was it really a technical emergency, or was something else going on? Some Pan-African analysts believe external forces are using regional allies and covert tactics to weaken leaders like Traoré, especially those who challenge Western interests and refuse to sell Africa's future. While there is no confirmed evidence tying Nigeria's president or the U.S. directly to the coup, the pattern is familiar: pressure, destabilization, then replacement. Let's talk about what's really at stake: resources. Burkina Faso is rich in gold, lithium, uranium, and other rare earth minerals. The exact resources powering modern technologies, AI, smartphones, electric vehicles, and advanced weapons. And guess what? The United States, Europe, China, and Russia all know it. They also know that whoever controls these resources controls the future. As Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger shift away from Western companies and move closer to Russia, Turkey, and China, the balance of global power is changing. That's why some believe the West wants regime change, not for democracy, but for access. Just like we're seeing diplomatic pressure in Venezuela to cut ties with Russia, China, and Iran, many believe similar tactics are being used in Africa. Why? Because Africa is the last frontier of untouched wealth, and global powers are racing to control it. Captain Traoré's visit to Moscow for Victory Day in 2025 sent a strong message. He was choosing an alternative path, one that prioritizes African partnerships over Western dependence. But that choice has a cost. All over the world, leaders aligned with Russia and China are under pressure, from sanctions to smear campaigns, and in extreme cases, military coups or uprisings. Whether it's Venezuela, Iran, or now parts of West Africa, the strategy is clear. If you challenge the Western order, you're next. Burkina Faso, under Traoré, is now seen as a symbol of resistance. But that resistance puts a target on his back. The failed coup may not be the last attempt. What's happening in Burkina Faso is bigger than one leader or one country. It's about Africa's right to control its own destiny. For decades, Africa has been rich in resources, but poor in power. That's not by accident. It's by design. Now, as young leaders rise and Pan-African movements gain strength, we must ask, will we let history repeat itself, or will we write a new chapter? It starts with unity, with vision, with rejecting puppet leadership and demanding transparent, people-centered governance. Africa doesn't need saving. Africa needs its people to believe, to organize, to resist manipulation, and to build together. Captain Traoré may be young, but he represents an ancient truth. Africa belongs to Africans. Whether you agree with his alliances or not, one thing is clear. He refuses to sell out his people. The world is watching. Powers are moving. But so are we. This is our time to rise, to stand tall, and to defend what is ours. Not with violence, but with truth, unity, and pride.
Yes, here we are. Greetings and welcome everyone, my dear lovely family, brothers and sisters of Africa. It's another time we meet here in our lovely channel, Make Africa Great. I'm speaking from my motherland. As you can see, there's some wind blowing. If you look behind me, it is so nice, so beautiful, so green. It means Africa is productive. Let us dive deep into our today's topic. We are going to dive into the recently failed coup in Burkina Faso. Some have been accusing Nigeria for involving in this failed coup. There are those who went far by saying that military jet, Nigerian military jet that was captured or seized by Captain Ibrahim Traoré after violating Burkinabe or the Alliance of Sahel State space, that military jet was sent purposely in Burkina Faso to spy and to look how the military camp has been arranged in Burkina Faso. So when they attacked Captain Ibrahim Traoré, they will understand where to start with. Then, unfortunately, the defense systems of Burkina Faso captured that military jet from Nigeria. And recently, you remember President Trump bombs another Nigerian after claiming that was Christian genocide in Nigeria. But some also went far by saying what Trump right now wants is resources. So Trump is using Nigerian Christians as a shield to attack Niger in the northern of Nigeria, in the other side, Mali and Burkina Faso. The question is why America or Western power are not happy with these countries. These countries have shifted from depending on Western power and moving to the Eastern power. I mean Russia and China. And it's almost Russia. We heard and we see and watch on television Captain Ibrahim Traoré invited in Russia at the Russian Victory Day. It's the one of West African leader who attended that event. And Traoré was invited after Putin sent a special plane escorted with military jet fighters from Ouagadougou to pick up Captain Ibrahim Traoré to Moscow for Traoré to attend that meeting. So that things has made this Western power hungry. And we witnessed the US General, Mr. Langley, accused Captain Ibrahim Traoré for using gold reserve to protect himself by saying Traoré is selling resources to Russia to buy weapons. So what right now America wants is to control all these resources. We have seen what has happened in Venezuela. America right now is a controller of Venezuelan oil, and already Trump has announced that Venezuela will not buy other products apart from American products. Yes, America is going to benefit from Venezuelan oil, but also the people of Venezuela are going to buy goods from United States of America. So you can see how America is making business. So to resources in Sahel, we know that Sahel has uranium, Sahel has lithium. If you talk about uranium, you talk about military power, you talk about nuclear bombs. When you come to lithium, you talk about electric cars, electric batteries, you talk about mobile phones that we use, these smartphones, and other accessories that need batteries, rechargeable batteries. So it's about lithium. But all those resources right now are in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Come to gold. If you talk about gold, you talk about economy, you talk about currency. And that's why many countries are backing their currencies with gold. So those resources are what America wants. Right now, it looks like those resources are shifting, moving to Russia. So if Russia will succeed to own uranium in Niger, it means Russia can produce more nuclear bombs and compete with America. If lithium will go to Russia or China, China can create or manufacture more electric cars and sell those cars and make a lot of money. That's where the competition is. So for America to counter China, for America to counter Russia, they have to force regime changes in Mali, in Niger, and Burkina Faso. They have tried in many African countries through, and of course they have done it, through elections. But right now in Burkina Faso, it is difficult to apply election because already these countries have said they will not undergo elections for 5 years until they see situation is okay. Until they see there is peace and people can involve light and peacefully in elections. So I think up to 2030, there will be no election in these countries. So America has no opportunity, not only America, this Western power, they have no opportunity to plant puppets or to force regime change through what we call elections and on this democracy. So they have right now what they're doing is to create destabilization, to make sure that this Traore, these leaders of Mali and Niger have to be removed. So to remove them, they have to use force. Right now, they're using techniques, lobbying people, trying to destabilize, trying to send puppets and these paid soldiers, but they're still finding a room how they can invade these countries. And that's why people and many speculators have been involving Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the current instance of failed coup in Burkina Faso. That Tinubu was used to destabilize Burkina Faso. You know, people are saying that because when people or soldiers in Benin decided to take control of their country from French puppets, the current president of Benin, Talon, Nigeria received a phone call from Macron and sent jets, military jet fighters to bomb soldiers in Benin and to restore President Talon, and Nigeria succeeded. So Nigeria was involved even without asking for the Senate to be allowed to deploy troops. Nigeria deployed troops in Benin. So later on today or this week, we have witnessed destabilization in Burkina Faso. If we connect dots, we can understand that there is a mission to remove Captain Ibrahim, not just to remove him, to assassinate Captain Ibrahim Traore. Because Traore is seen as idea generator, or is, what can I say, is inspirator. Traore has inspired millions of Africans and showing Africans that things can be done on the ground. While the West has been claiming that we Africans, we can't feed ourselves, Traore has said we can't feed ourselves. While the world is still spreading narratives that we Africans, we don't have good engineers to build our roads, we don't have doctors, Traore has demonstrated that Africans are good engineers, Africans are good doctors after changing things on the ground. While the world is still believing that Africans are lazy people, Traore has changed that narratives. So for Traore to change narratives, it means Traore is shifting business from Western power to Africans. Because those amount of money that right now are being used for people of Burkina Faso to build their own roads, to build their own infrastructures, has to go in Europe or in Asia for the Chinese, for the European companies. But right now, Traore said we can build our own country with our own hand. Fesamabo. That's how Traore has done. And that's the problem that this Western power or this big power have with Captain Traore. So I heard one commentator, and I'm sharing that commentator, calling Africans, young people, to protect good leaders in the continent of Africa.
Now, Africans, listen. Like we did before, when they tried, we must rise up in defense of this young man and every other good African leader who is defending the interest of Africa and the African people. We must stand up and line behind them. And this is why I've been talking. I wish maybe perhaps one of these days I will be able to reach directly Captain Ibrahim Traoré. There is need for us to build a pan-African army. Yes, it can start from Burkina Faso. It can start from the AES countries. Young Africans need to wake up. Young Africans with energy need their energy channeled into something productive. We want an Africa that will be free. We want an Africa where its children will have access to opportunities. We want an Africa that can educate its people in line with who we are as Africans. We want an Africa that can build research institutions.
Africa. Right now you see Trump, what he's doing? He's removing all leaders who are against the United States of America. Trump wants all leaders, especially these leaders from small nations, to bow and to listen what America wants. And these countries are those who are own resources. If you talk about resources, the resources are coming from these small nations, weak nations, is where resources are coming from. So what happened in Venezuela will happen also in other countries. You heard Trump talking about Greenland. You heard Trump bring together the issue of Congo and Rwanda. Of course, a few days ago, I shared a video about President Kagame, how these powerful nations try to destabilize Kagame because they think Kagame is the one who is beneficiaries of Congolese minerals. They want to be free to exploit Congo without being asked. They want to destabilize Rwanda as well as Congo so that when they come and take resources, they will not be asked. That's what they are doing. So family, brothers and sisters, let us connect dots. Let us come together. Let us protect our leaders. There's no other time Africa have to come together except this time. And if you don't come together this time, don't blame anyone. Don't blame anyone. We will be defeated and will be colonized again. And this time, Africa or the world will be colonized by force. You see what is happening in Ukraine? You see what is happening in Gaza? You have witnessed what happened almost 11 years ago in Libya. So leaders will be removed and puppet regimes will be installed and resources will move out. And they will control resources. So we have to be prepared. And they use our own leaders. As I said, Tinubu has been accused for being used by France as well as by US. Because by allowing US to bomb in your country, it means you can allow US to station military or to station army to fight other countries. So if US can bomb in Nigeria, can Nigeria stop US to put military base in Nigeria? Nigeria has that power to say, US, don't put your soldiers here if the same soldiers have been already bombed in Nigeria. So, family, that's something that as Africans we need to be vigilant. So of that, family, let me say thank you. Have a nice time. Wish you a happy day. Meet you on other video. If you have something to share with us, please make sure that you do so through the comment section. And if you have already subscribed to this channel and you are new, make sure that you subscribe and share the message and also like the video to reach many Africans so that Africans can be awakened. Thank you.
Thank you, Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, yeah. You make African great. Thank you, Africa. Thank you, Africa.